some teams are out here turning heads in ways nobody saw coming.
Sam Darnold is playing like an MVP quality quarterback.
Others are, well, they're making us question everything that we thought we knew. So let's take a look around the NFL and highlight 5 teams that are crushing the expectations that we had for them coming into the season, and 5 that are straight up letting everyone down. Way better, Buffalo Bills. It's hard to say that coming into 2024 that the Buffalo Bills were completely flying under the radar, but there were plenty of questions surrounding whether this team could still contend for a Super Bowl, especially with the high-profile fallout with and subsequent departure of their top wide receiver, Stephon Diggs. Some doubted if Josh Allen could keep playing at an elite level without him, or if the defense would be able to withstand the losses of guys like Jordan Poyer and Tre'Davious White from last season. But after the first few weeks of the season, it's pretty safe to say that those doubts have nearly completely vanished. It was a little bit touch and go week 1 against the Cardinals, but the Bills came out swinging and they have been absolutely crushing it ever since. Josh Allen has been playing lights out, starting off the season with MVP caliber performances that have silenced every critic who dared to call him overrated. Buffalo is playing with a level of focus and execution that took them way too long to find last season. They look every bit like a top contender, and at this rate, it's hard to see them slowing down anytime soon. Considering how many people in and around the league were starting to whisper that they might be at risk of missing the playoffs heading into the year, I'd say it's been quite a turn of events. Way worse, Dallas Cowboys. Expectations may have been relatively tempered to Cowboys standards heading into the season, but after the way we saw them dominate in week 1, they shot right back up and Dallas re-emerged as a popular choice to be a Super Bowl contender. But man, you want to talk about a team that's been a massive disappointment so far? How about them Cowboys? After that strong start in week 1, Dallas has quickly spiraled out of control and things are looking mighty shaky in Big D. It all starts with the defense. Losing Trayvon Diggs for the season last year hurt, but now that he's back, the expectations for the Cowboys D have also returned. But unfortunately, the performance is nowhere to be found. Their once-feared defense led by Mike Zimmer has been unable to stop the run, and it looks like its scheme may be completely broken. They've struggled to get a ton of pressure on the quarterback, and the secondary has gotten gashed more times than Zimmer would ever care to see. And on the other side of the ball, the ghost of Ezekiel Elliott and that uninspiring stable of running backs has been completely unable to generate any production, putting a ton of pressure on Dak, which we know isn't his favorite thing. This has thus resulted in an imbalanced offense, and one that can seemingly only move the ball and put up points in garbage time. Unless something changes fast, the hope going into this year will vanish yet again and will instead be another long, frustrating season for Cowboys fans. Way better, Minnesota Vikings. Alright, if you had the Minnesota Vikings on your list of surprise teams in 2024, go ahead, pat yourself on the back, because this squad is blowing away damn near everyone's expectation on the strength of Kevin O'Connell's brilliant strategy and leadership. Heading into the season, there were plenty of questions, especially at quarterback, with Sam Darnold taking the reins from Kirk Cousins. But hey, so far, Darnold has been more than just serviceable. He's been downright dangerous, and the Vikings have been rolling through the early part of their schedule. The Vikings are playing like a complete team. Darnold is delivering, Justin Jefferson is doing his thing, and the defense is stepping up in a big way. Minnesota now has 2 quality wins against top 10 teams, and they look poised to make serious noise in the NFC. This easily has been the biggest shock of the season so far. Way worse, Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars came into 2024 hoping to right the ship after a disastrous collapse last season, but it seems like that chaos has now carried over into this year. Trevor Lawrence, who is once hailed as the next great franchise quarterback, has been at the center of this nightmare, and the Jaguars are officially in panic mode. Not just about their season, but also about the fact that the man who is supposed to be the centerpiece of turning this organization around may end up being a big old bust. Lawrence has now lost 8 straight games as the starter, and his recent performances have been nothing short of alarming. His decision-making has been terrible, and his accuracy, troubling. Granted, the offensive line is in shambles, and the play calling from Doug Peterson and Press Taylor feels very disjointed. But still, this level of performance is absolutely unacceptable. The defense has also been a no-show. I mean, come on, the Buffalo Bills absolutely obliterated them in week 3, in what many are suspecting to be the nail in the coffin for this Jaguars season. Jacksonville's problems go way deeper than just on-field performance, though. Maybe the expectations going into this year were no more than an illusion. The franchise feels stuck, like it's in desperate need of an overhaul from top to bottom. Way better, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sure, there's room for improvement, and Baker Mayfield hasn't been perfect, but Tampa Bay has already shown that they are way better than expected. And even with the NFC South looking much improved, they have a legitimate shot at another playoff berth. Mayfield has been playing solid football. Nothing overwhelmingly flashy, but hey, he's getting the job done in a meaningful way, both with his arm and his leg, making all the plays that the team needs him to. He's been especially impressive down the stretch of games for Tampa, which could bode well for them come playoff time. Coming into 2024, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers weren't exactly being talked about as contenders. I mean, after all, they backed their way into the playoffs last season. Most people thought this could be a big regression year for them, but with the way that defense is playing, even without key pieces like Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey, they have been more than serviceable. This right here is a squad worth believing in. Way worse, Cincinnati Bengals. From 1990 through last season, 162 teams started at 0-3. Just 4 made the playoffs and 0 won the Super Bowl. And coming into this season, there was almost no one who thought that the Cincinnati Bengals, with the way that they finished last year and a healthy Joe Burrow under center, would be up against those odds. I mean, if you had told Bengals fans at the start of 2024 that they'd be 0-3 heading into Week 4, they would have laughed you out of the room. And yet, here we are. The offensive line has really struggled, and Burrow seems out of sync with most of his key targets. This team was supposed to be a serious contender, but now they're staring down the barrel of a wasted season if they can't turn things around quickly. For a franchise that's been on the rise, this 0-3 start feels like a punch to the gut. Way better, New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints were a tough team to peg heading into the season. Sure, they had a winning record last year, but with a weak schedule and inconsistent play on both sides of the ball, no one really knew what to expect this season. Well, now we know. The Saints are for real, especially that defense, which has just been downright suffocating. And after a few years of middling results on the offensive side of the ball and no real identity post-Drew Brees, the arrival of offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak has completely changed that narrative in NOLA. He's helped to unlock Derek Carr and mitigate some of the trappings that have plagued the quarterback in the past. Tampa Bay is strong as well, but New Orleans is looking poised to take control of the division. And if they can keep it up, they will be a tough outcome playoff time. Way worse, Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears had one of the most hyped rookie quarterbacks coming into this year with the #1 overall pick, Caleb Williams. But so far, the results have been underwhelming, to say the least. Part of the problem is the Bears' offensive line, which has struggled to protect Williams and open up running lanes for DeAndre Swift. And with the absence of a valid run game, all the focus from opposing defenses has been turned to Williams, which has only heightened the pressure on him, and the subsequent disappointment from his inability to perform. Not exactly what you want to see out of a guy that many were expecting to be the savior of the franchise. Chicago's defense has been a pleasant surprise and looked very impressive thus far. Maybe the offense is still just a year or two away from reaching the heights that we projected for them heading into the year. Way better, Washington Commanders. The arrival of rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels has completely changed the tone down in the nation's capital. Daniels has been electric, completing over 80% of his passes and showing poise well beyond his years. In their Week 3 upset over the Bengals, he led 6 scoring drives, using both his arm and his legs to keep Cincinnati's defense off balance and pour 38 points on him. Washington's offense has been firing on all cylinders, with Daniels looking like a legitimate offensive rookie of the year candidate. And while almost all the attention in DC has been focused on Daniels and the offense, make no mistake about it, this young Commanders defense, while still a work in progress, is doing just that. Progressing. They have done just enough to give them a chance to win games. In the aforementioned win over Cincy, they were able to batten down the hatches when things mattered most and get some critical stops. The energy and excitement around this team are palpable, and for the first time in a long time, Washington fans have a reason to believe in their team again. Who knows? If Daniels keeps playing at this level, the Commanders could be a surprise playoff team in the NFC. Way worse, Miami Dolphins. Coming into the season, there was plenty of optimism surrounding this team, but oh man, has it just gone downhill in a hurry. While it isn't the sole cause of the trouble in South Beach, the biggest issue has to be Tua's injury. With Tagovailoa sidelined, the Dolphins have turned to Skylar Thompson, and, well, it hasn't gone well. The offense looked a little bit out of sync to start the year, but with Thompson, it just looks flat out broken. Their all-world wide receiver room featuring Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle have been turned into complete non-factors because they simply aren't getting the ball in their hands. Even the run game has disappeared, leaving Miami's offense stuck in neutral. Defensively, well, they've been just as bad, as they've gotten gashed by opposing offenses, and without a consistent pass rush, their secondary has been exposed. In Week 3, the Dolphins couldn't even put up a fight against Seattle, and it looks like things might only get worse before they get any better. better. For a team that had playoff aspirations, the Dolphins are quickly looking like a lost cause. If Tua doesn't get back soon, Miami's season could be over before it even really begins. But hey, which NFL team do you think looks way better than we expected in 2024? Who's been a disappointment so far this season? What do you think we got wrong here? What do you think we got right? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you guys next time.